Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning and welcome to Monday. It is the very first day of the month of November today. And the subject for today in our Sermon on the Mount is marriage from Matthew chapter 5, verses 31 and 32. It has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery. And anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. We're going to hear from Dietrich Bonhoeffer today. There's three different ones in this section. Bonhoeffer is the best and doesn't take us 15 minutes to read. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Marriage is more than your love for each other. It has a higher dignity and power, for it is God's holy ordinance by means of which he wills to perpetuate the human race until the end of time. In your love, you see your two selves as solitary figures in the world. In marriage, you see yourselves as links in the chain of the generations, which God causes to come and go to his glory and calls into his kingdom. In your love, you see only the heaven of your bliss. Through marriage, you are placed at a post of responsibility toward the world and to humankind. Your love is your own private possession. Marriage is more than a private affair. It is an estate, an office. As the crown makes the king and not just his determination to rule, so marriage and not just your love for each other makes you husband and wife in the sight of God and man. As you first gave the ring to one another and received it a second time from the hand of the parson, so love comes from you, but marriage from above, from God. As God is infinitely higher than man, so the sanctity, the privilege, and the promise of marriage are higher than the sanctity. Let me read that sentence again. As God is infinitely higher than man, so the sanctity, the privilege, and the promise of marriage are higher than the sanctity, the privilege, and the promise of love. It is not your love which sustains the marriage, but from now on, the marriage that sustains your love. Interesting thought. God makes your marriage indissoluble. Those whom God has joined together, let no man put asunder. God is joining you together. It is his act, not yours. Do not confound your love with God. God makes your marriage indissoluble. He protects it from every danger from within and without. What a blessed thing it is to know that no power on earth, no human frailty can dissolve what God holds together. Knowing that, we may say with all confidence, what God has joined together, man cannot put asunder. No need now to be troubled with those anxious fears so inseparable from love. You can say to each other now without a shadow of a doubt, we can never lose each other now. By the will of God, we belong to each other till death do us part. All three of the authors have that very strong sense, that understanding that marriage is of God, that a man and a woman together are of God. Paul, when he writes about marriage in Ephesians 5, likens marriage to being a symbol of the love that Christ has for his church. And the directions he gives to the wife and to the husband are similar to the directions that Christ gives to his church and what Christ does for his church. It is a mystery, Paul says, when he writes those words. And marriage is a mystery. Marriage has been a part of culture from the beginning. Some kind of ceremony, some kind of thing that recognizes that these two people, this man and this woman, are now joined together, more than just being in love. Now their love has gone a step further and united together. It's a powerful thing. Of course, marriage is not held with the same value that it once was. And there are all kinds of side issues we could get into on that. But the reality is, God looks at marriage as a holy thing. And it is not to be entered into lightly. Blessings to you today. In the Sermon on the Mount, I think we're learning that the things that we read there, the lessons that are taught there are powerful, and they're important, and they should be heeded, and they should be lived. Have a blessed day today.